Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The quote of the day is by Ibn Battuta, who said, traveling, it offers you 100 roads to adventure and gives you a third wing. So the topic of presentation is micronutrients, the micronutrients and proteins. And I am giving this presentation under the kind supervision of Professor Saira. The learning outlines of today's presentation is the introduction to the nutrition, macronutrients, micronutrients, protein, recent updates, and at the end are the MCQs. Learning outline. By the end of this presentation, participants would be able to describe nutrition, protein. Now, what is nutrition? Nutrition is defined as the science of food and its relationship to health. It is concerned primarily with the part played by nutrients in the body. It helps in growth, development, and maintenance. Nutrient or food factor is used for specific dietary constituents. Dietetics is the practical application of principles of nutrition. It includes the planning of meals for the well and sick. Now the classification of food. It is classified based on their region. It may be the animal region or vegetable region, and on the chemical composition, it is classified into proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals. They may be micronutrients or the micronutrients. Now, what are the macronutrients? These are the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, which are often called proximate principles because they form the main bulk of the food. And the micronutrients are called micronutrients because they are required in small amounts, which may vary from a fraction of the milligram to several grams. The example is the vitamins and minerals. No, what is Pakistan dietary guidelines for better nutrition? The Pakistan dietary guidelines for better nutrition are comprehensive country-specific guidelines for general public to adopt healthy eating practices, prevent and reduce the risk of infections and chronic diseases. The guidelines are simple to adopt, provide age and gender appropriate and culturally acceptable options to choose nutrition foods. Now this is the concept of my plate. According to this, the whole meal of the person should be a portion of the fruits, the grains, the proteins, the vegetables, and one glass of milk or dairy products per day. My Plate is a nutrition food hygiene food guide developed by the US Department of Agriculture to help Americans become more aware of what they eat and to assist them in making better food choices. As the My Plate icon shows, the five food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein foods, and dairy products. Know the whole grains. According to My Plate, eat a variety of whole grains which include wheat bread, whole grain pasta, and brown rice. Limit defined grains like white rice and white bread. And according to healthy proteins, choose fish, poultry, beans, and nuts. Limit red meat and cheese. Avoid bacon, cold nuts, and other processed meats. And fruits. According to My Plate, eat plenty of fruits of all colors and the vegetables. The more veggies and the greater variety, the better potatoes and French fries don't count. Use healthy oils like olive and canola oil for cooking on salad and at the table. Limit butter, avoid fats. Now the kids healthy eating plate. Here is its diagram. And the kids healthy eating plate is a visual guide to help educate and encourage children to eat well and keep moving. At a glance, the graphic features examples of best choice foods to inspire the selection of healthy meals and snacks, and it emphasizes physical activity as part of the equation for staying healthy. Now the proteins. Proteins are complex nutrient essential to many important functions in the body. Protein needs can be met by eating a variety of food sources. An energy yielding nutrient composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. That what is protein composed of, and it differs from carbohydrates and fats because of presence of nitrogen. The body has at least 30,000 types of protein, each with a different job. The building blocks of all protein molecules are amino acids. Now the denaturation. The protein we consume can be altered and changed, but can never return to its initial form. This is called denaturation. This can be seen when you add heat to an egg. It changes from a runny fluid to a solid mass. The shapes of the protein molecules in these foods have changed. Factors that can cause denaturation are heat, chemicals like acids, bases, and alcohols. Now, what are amino acids? These are 20 different amino acids that create different combinations for specific functions in the body. DNA provides the instruction for how the amino acid will be linked to form specific proteins in your body. So the type of amino acids. These are essential and non-essential amino acids. Now, what are essential amino acids? These are 9 amino acids out of 20, which are essential amino acids because they cannot synthesize them in amounts corresponding to its needs, and therefore they must be obtained from the dietary proteins. So these are the 9 essential amino acids that a human body cannot make, and you must have to take it from your diet. And these are 11 non-essential amino acids because these amino acids the human body can made. So these are 11 non-essential and 9 essential amino acids. The quality of protein. The quality of protein is determined by its ability to provide 9 essential amino acids. Protein from animal sources that are eggs, dairy, meat, poultry, and fish, and one vegetable protein, soy, are all considered high quality because they contain all of the essential amino acids in the necessary proportions. Now, the proteins in the body, they are mainly the main portion of the proteins in the body are in the muscles. The second one is the bone, skin, and then other organs like blood, glands, and nerve tissues. In the functions of proteins, there are many functions. First one is to build and maintain tissues. Protein makes up about 18 to 20% of your body. It is a necessary part of every cell, and skeletal muscles account for more than half of the body protein. It makes important compounds like enzymes, some hormones, and antibodies, and regulate mineral and fluid balance. It also maintains acid and base balance, and it carry vital substances like it is used to transport lipoproteins, iron, and other nutrients as well as oxygen, chromosomes, and other bundles of protein to other parts of the cells. It provides energy. Now this is the diagram which showing how the proteins are ingested and they form different functions. After proteins are taken, they got digested, and then they release peptides and amino acids, and they got absorbed into body and form different functions. They may be stored as fats. They may provide glucose and then energy and urea, that is the source of nitrogen. And they may form other organs of the body in which protein is buried, like the muscles and other organs and bones. And they may help in forming enzymes, hormones, and other antibodies. So, proteins provide many essential functions in the body that are digestive enzymes that help to facilitate chemical reactions. They form antibodies that support immune function. They support and regulation of expression of DNA and RNA. They help in move essential molecules around the body. For example, the hemoglobin that is used to transport that is used in the transportation of oxygen. They form hormones, provide support to the body, and support muscle contraction and movements. So these are the health benefits of proteins. They help in muscle development, bone metabolism, control sugar levels. They are also helpful in lower the process of aging, prevent hair damage, make skin healthy, and help in more hormone balance, improve immune system, and help in reducing health-related diseases and ideal weight. Know how much proteins are required by the humans. Protein is not stored in the body. Quantity depends upon the age, gender, body size, and state of the health. When increased muscle mass is not the goal, large amounts of extra protein are not required. Supplements to increase intake may have more harmful effects than benefit. Protein is commonly overconsumed. Too much protein from artificial sources may be harmful. Stick to natural sources so that the body may be easily achieve its peak performance. Know who needs more proteins. These are the group of people that their requirements of proteins may be high, that are growing youth and teenage, the pregnant and lactating women, the teens and adult males, the individuals who have lean muscle mass, and those who are ill and injured people to build antibodies and rebuild damaged tissue. Now, what is a balanced diet? Balanced diet is that diet in which the portion of every macronutrient is in the required amounts. In which the carbohydrates constitute about 60 to 65% of the whole, fats constitutes 20 to 25%, and the rest 10 to 20% is made by the proteins. They help in avoiding dehydration and consume low-fat sources of protein. Use low-fat cooking methods like grilling, baking, and poaching. Do athletes need more proteins? More muscle does not automatically require more protein. Most athletic activities require higher levels of energy, which requires more carbohydrate for energy to spare proteins to build and repair muscles. Low intensity sports like running need less compared to high intensity sports like strength training. In weightlifting, more protein will help improve muscle mass. Factors that can influence people's protein choices, that is availability, cost, health concerns, food preferences, religious beliefs, and environmental factors. So the protein sources. Protein in the diet can be provided from both animal and plant sources. Animal sources of proteins are beef, whale, pork, lamb, poultry, and fish, while others are egg, milk, yogurt, and cheese. Every American consumes 200 pounds of meat, poultry, and seafood annually. Meat is an excellent source of protein, but can be high in fat. That is true for dairy. 57% of calories in ground beef come from fat, mostly saturated and no fiber. Considerably, it is more expensive. Now, the plant sources of protein. It can be found in grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Legumes capture nitrogen, making them more protein dense. Peanuts, black-eyed peas, kidney beans, black beans, lentils, chickpeas, and lima beans. Soybeans are a type of legume that can be converted to form different types of food products that are the meat alternatives. These are the top 10 sources of proteins that are available in uh, from the vegetables. These are spinach, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, parsley, cucumbers, green pepper, cabbage, and while the other sources of proteins are eggs, chicken, beef, and tomatoes. So how much protein every food contains? Two eggs contain about 13.2 grams. 95 gram can of tuna contains 25 grams. 100 gram of salmon pan fried fish contains 20 grams. 100 gram steak contains 32 grams. 1 half cup piece contains 4 grams. And 100 gram of chicken breast grilled contains 31 grams. So the nitrogen balance. Comparison of a nitrogen as a person consumes with the nitrogen he or she excretes. Protein is the only energy nutrient that provides nitrogen. Nitrogen equilibrium. Nitrogen equilibrium exceeds the same amount of that is taken in. Positive nitrogen balance is that build new tissue takes in more than is excreted. Negative nitrogen balance tissues that are deteriorating. Example body that is wasting due to starvation. So the protein deficiency and overconsumption. Excess proteins in the diet. Most people in the US are guilty of this. Women eat almost 1.5 times the recommended dietary allowance. Men eat nearly twice the recommended dietary allowance. It is maybe due to lack of education about the proteins that they need. Excess proteins leads to liver and kidney problems. Body mass excrete this waste before it builds up to toxic levels. Liver turns nitrogen waste into urea. Kidneys are then responsible for excreting through urine. Extra work on the liver kidneys creating stress and aging. So the calcium loss. Diets high in protein from animals contribute to calcium loss in the body, and they may also result in excess body fat. These are the consequences of excess protein intake. So the protein deficiency. Protein deficiency leads to lesser storage of proteins. Deficiency diseases like sickness caused by a lack of essential nutrient, population fighting poverty, deficiency is not uncommon. No protein energy malnutrition. According to WHO, protein energy malnutrition refers to an imbalance between the supply of protein and energy that bodies demand for them to ensure optimal growth and function. Protein energy malnutrition can be kwashiorkor or marasmus. Marasmus is that in which there is wasting, and kwashiorkor is in this in which there is a edema on the body. This is the picture of the kwashiorkor child, and this is the picture of the marasmus child. Marasmus is mostly due to the deficiency of proteins, and the kwashiorkor it dwells in children whose diets are total calories are the deficiency of the proteins. Now, what about protein powders? Powder proteins can come from a variety of sources, including eggs, milk, and plants. Some protein powders contain protein from multiple sources. For instance, a vegan option might include protein derived from peas, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and alfalfa. Like other dietary supplements, protein powders are not regulated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration facility. They can often contain non-protein ingredients, including vitamins and minerals, thickeners, added sugars, non-caloric caloric sweeteners, and artificial flavoring. If you choose to consume protein powder, it is important to read the nutrition and ingredient labels beforehand, as products may contain unexpected ingredients and large amounts of added sugars and calories. Know the protein recommendations. How much protein do the humans need? The National Academy of Medicine recommends that adults get a minimum of zero point 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram of body weight per day, or just over 7 grams over uh, for every 20 pounds of body weight. For a 140 pound person, that means about 50 grams of proteins are needed per day. For a 200 person pound, it means that 70 grams of proteins are needed per day. Know the protein quality. They can be judged by protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. It measures protein quality based on human essential amino acid requirements and our ability to digest it. The test protein is compared to a standard amino acid profile and is given a score from 0 to 10, with a score of 1 indicating maximum amino acid digestibility. The next parameter is evaluation of protein quality uh, with the protein digestibility corrected amino acid score that measures the protein's metabolic effectiveness at a dietary intake that meets minimum requirements. To be considered as a high quality or complete protein, a protein must contain all the essential amino acids or building blocks of proteins in the right proportion that can be easily digested. Now, the evaluation of proteins. They can be done by amino acid content, digestibility coefficient, biological value, net protein utilization, protein energy, nutrition. Now, the protein quality. Comparison to the reference protein, which is usually egg protein, methods of assessment of protein quality are mentioned. Amino acid score. The concentration of each essential amino acid in the test protein expressed as a percentage of that amino acid in the reference protein to the digestibility coefficient. It is a proportion of food protein which is absorbed. The next one is biological value. It is a percentage of absorbed nitrogen retained in the body. These are the other measures, that is net protein utilization, protein energy ratio, and know how to measure proteins. They may be measured by serum albumin concentration, and it is good if it is more than 3.5 grams per deciliter. No research on protein and health. Available evidence indicates that it is the source of protein rather than the amount of protein that likely makes a difference for our health. Eating healthy protein sources like beans, nuts, fish, or poultry in place of red meat and processed meat can lower the risk of several diseases and premature death. To the nutrition programs in Pakistan. Many nutrition programs have been initiated by the government and non-government organizations, which are School Health Program, Micronutrient Initiative, National Program for Family Planning, Primary Health Care, and the Tawana Pakistan Project. SHAPE is a unique health education program for children as it focuses on children while involving parents and teachers in the behavior change process, efficacy on physical activity, dietary behaviors, and cardiometabolic parameters. The goals of Tawana Pakistan project is to reduce gender and social inequalities, increase enrollment and retention, and reduce absenteeism of girls, improve the nutrition status of girls in primary schools and community, provide access to safe water and sanitation facilities, organize communities into school nutrition communities comprising teachers, parents, and students. Now the time for the recent updates. The first article is what technological and economical elements must be addressed to support the affordability, accessibility, and desirability of alternate proteins and low and middle income countries. Populations in low and middle income countries typically consume less than the recommended daily amounts of protein. Alternative protein sources could help to combat malnutrition, but this requires careful consideration of elements needed to further establish alternative protein products in low and middle income countries. Key considerations include technological, nutritional, safety, social, and economical challenges. This perspective analyzes these considerations in achieving dietary diversity in low and middle income countries using a combination of traditional and novel protein sources with high nutritional value, namely soy, mycoprotein, and cultivated meat. Technological approaches to modulate the techno functionality and better off taste of plant source proteins facilitate processing and ensure consumer acceptance. Economic consideration for inputs, infrastructure for production, and transportation represent key elements to scale up alternative proteins. Dietary diversification is an indispensable, and low and middle countries cannot rely on plant proteins alone to provide adequate protein intake in sustainable way. Investments in infrastructure and innovation are urgently needed to offer diverse sources of protein in low and middle income countries. The second article is macronutrient and micronutrient intake during pregnancy. That is an overview of the recent evidence. The nutrition status during pregnancy can have a significant on maternal and neonatal health outcomes. Requirement for micronutrients such as nutrition and protein increase during pregnancy to maintain maternal hemostasis while supporting fetal growth. Energy restriction can limit gestational weight gain in women with obesity. However, there is insufficient evidence to support energy restriction during pregnancy. In undernourished women, balanced energy to protein ratio supplementation may increase birth weight, whereas high protein supplementation could have adverse effects on fetal growth. Modulating carbohydrate intake via reduced glycemic index or a glycemic load diet may prevent gestational diabetes and life or gestational age in pain. Certain micronutrients are also vital for improving pregnancy outcomes, including folic acid to prevent neural tube defects and iodine to prevent cretinism. Newly published studies support the use of calcium supplementation to prevent hypertensive disorders of pregnancy, particularly in women at high risk or with low dietary calcium intake. Although gaps in knowledge remain, research linking nutrition during pregnancy to maternal-fetal outcomes have made dramatic advances over the last few years. In this review, we will provide an overview of the most recent evidence pertaining to macronutrient and micronutrient requirements during pregnancy, the risks and consequences of deficiency, and the effects of supplementation of pregnancy outcomes. So the time for the MCQs. First MCQ is a food pyramid is a representation of the optimal number of servings to be eaten each day from each of the basic food groups. Base of the food pyramid is made of whether the sugars, fats and oils, proteins, starches, or the vitamins. It's the starches. Next MCQ is a balanced diet is a diet that contains different kinds of foods in certain quantities and proportions. Percentage of protein in balanced diet is whether 10 to 20%, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, or 50 to 60.
D. C.
It's a which is required proteins are required by the body in 10 to 20%. Third MCQ is the practice of mixing different classes of dietary proteins so that the deficits in one are balanced by the surplus in the other is called protein quality, digestibility, complementation, nutrition balance, or my plate.
C.
Yes, it's protein complementation. Next MCQ is if an essential amino acid that is needed by the cells to make a particle protein is unavailable in the body pool, the cell will omit that amino acid from that protein, substitute a similar amino acid, break down body protein to obtain it. Senses of amino acid are become abnormal share.
C.
Yes, it's a breakdown body protein to obtain it because these are the essential amino acids are those which the body cannot make. So if the essential amino acid will be deficient, the body will break down its own proteins to generate that amino acid. Fifth MCQ is a 9 months irritable child come to healthcare facility with a failure to thrive, chronic diarrhea, loss of subcutaneous fat. On further inquiry, physicians come to know that child has 6 siblings, mother is uneducated and is water fed. What is the most probable diagnosis? Failure to thrive is a condition when the baby's weight is not gaining or his growth parameters are not improving. So, based on this scenario, the diagnosis may be kwashiorkor, marasmus, overnutrition, vitamin A deficiency, or lactose intolerance.
D.
Yes, it's B.
E.
Okay. Yes, it's
B.
B. Sixth MCQ is the Wana Pakistan project is for girls in rural community. Which of the following is not a goal for this program? Whether reduce gender and social inequalities or reduce absenteeism of girls, improve the nutrition status of girls, provide access to safe water and sanitation facilities, stopping teenage marriages.
A. E.
It's E. The Wana Pakistan project it's not meant for the stopping teenage marriages. Seventh MCQ is School Health Program Pakistan was launched in 2005. It is helping to improve health and well-being of students. This statement is not true regarding school health program, where the nutrition counseling is done, deworming of students, training of teachers to treat refractory areas, provide midday meal, or the health education.
B,
Yes,
D,
it's B, deworming of students. It's not done in school health program. Eighth MCQ is a researcher want to compare amino acid content of wheat with the reference value. The reference value is used as amino acid content of uh, the question that is asked which reference amino acid is used, whether beef, chicken, egg, pulses, or beef.
C,
It's C, egg. The reference value for amino acids are compared with the egg proteins. Ninth MCQ is a 3-year-old child comes with pitting edema, a light abdomen, looks lethargic and has poor wound healing. Mother gives history that child eats junk food only and hardly eats pulses, meats or eggs. What is the most appropriate diagnosis, whether kwashiorkor, marasmus, overnutrition, vitamin A deficiency or lactose intolerance?
A,
It is
A,
kwashiorkor, as the child has the pitting edema. That is the difference between the kwashiorkor and marasmus. In kwashiorkor, the patient has edema, while in marasmus there is wasting. Last MCQ is a teenager concerned about his diet. He went to a nutritionist who counseled him that his food should include vegetables, fruits, cereals, protein, and dairy in appropriate amount for good health and well-being. This is concept of whether my plate, nutrition, fortification, codex alimentarius, growth chart, or food balance.
food balance.
A,
E,
Uh, this is the concept of the my plate as I've shown in the figure. We comprises of 4 portions. One is for vegetables, one is for fruits, the other grains, and the last one is for the proteins and the cup of dairy or the milk. This is the key of the MCQs. This is our YouTube channel in which all the presentations are uploaded here. And thank you very much for today's presentation.